So I recently had a chance to test shooting film pushed, and one of the rolls I decided to push was Tri-X 400. Not a very uncommon thing to do. I shot it at 1600 on my camera, which was a Fujifilm Klasse W. It has a 28mm f2.8 lens. It's a little point-and-shoot film camera, and it lets you select ISO. So I shot it at 1600, and when I had it developed, I had them push it a couple stops. I also shot some color negative film as well that I'll post some other videos about in the future. But I was really impressed by the way the Tri-X came out pushed to 1600. The results were pretty consistent. There were a few scans that were a little flatter, but the majority were really high contrasty, and I kind of glanced over the negatives, not in too much detail, but held up all the negatives quickly to the light, and they kind of all looked consistent. So it has a nice look to it, nothing surprising, really contrasty, but it's cool looking. It's sort of like what I often would do to black and white photos that I would take, like when I was shooting digital, and when I'd edit them a little bit. Nothing too crazy, but I'd always add contrast, sometimes, crush the blacks a little bit, sometimes boost the highlights, but, just kind of that gritty, high contrast look. Obviously, Tri-X has the cool grain, but it's kind of neat that it sort of just looks that way when you shoot it pushed to 1600. Obviously, the speed helps as well. If you'd notice, almost all of these shots, now we're switching to outdoors, but the earlier shots I was showing, most of them were indoors, lower light, and I really needed that 1600 speed to get the shots. Most of them, the lens was set to f2.8, and I was typically getting towards the slower shutter speeds, 60th of a second, 45th even sometimes. So yeah, it looks awesome. I'm definitely back on the black and white film train. Kind of had lost interest in it, really got into color negative film and slide film, but this stuff's awesome. This was a test roll, actually, to not only experiment with pushing Tri-X to 1600 and pushing film in general, but it was also to test out this camera. This is the first roll of film I pushed through this camera, or I shot through this camera. So I wanted to kind of get a feel for it. I have a Klasse S. It's a 38mm 2.8 point and shoot, but I like the wider field of view, and this is a 28mm, so definitely a wider field of view. It's really awesome. I love the camera, but the film, the Tri-X 400 pushed to 1600 at least, is pretty epic. I was really pleased with my results. Like literally all 37 shots on the roll looked pretty awesome. And I went ahead and bought, I think I had bought 2 rolls. This was the first one I shot. I'm in the middle of another roll on another camera that I'm also shooting at 1600 on my FM3A. And I went ahead and ordered another 6 rolls of it off Amazon because they have a good price. They have it like for $4.95 a roll, I think. So just under $5. But you can tell. I mean, look at these. Even outside, I was able to shoot even in brighter light with 1600. Obviously this was probably like at a f11 or even f16. But here's back inside. Low light again. I was just experimenting again. Nothing specific, but just kind of getting the shadows and light. But yeah, I think the results speak for themselves. It's really cool. It works awesome for honestly, this is just a lot of snapshots of my kids around the house, and I love it. So I'm definitely going to be doing a lot of this in the future. Thanks.